Hello everyone, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our hands-on review of the eMeet Smart Conference Speaker M2. If this sounds familiar, that's because we reviewed the original M1 back in November, so this is their second generation model that they've come out half a year later. It still retails for $200, which is a little expensive, but it supposedly packs in larger drivers, so you have an overall bigger footprint that should pack a larger punch in terms of volume. So it's still going to be a conference speaker that you would want to buy if you are working in teams, for companies, things like that, where you have a group of people sitting around a table and it has omnidirectional microphones along the entire outer row that picks up everyone's voices and blends it seamlessly to whoever is calling on the other side. So it could be a pretty decent kind of gadget to purchase, again, if you have a smaller company, things like that. It also works as a traditional Bluetooth speaker, of course, and in terms of other features here, it has, again, 8 meters per field voice pickup, so it picks up your voices pretty far. 4 microphones on board, 360 degrees, high quality voice technology is on board, and it's pretty interesting because this company, eMeet, does seem to specialize in these audio conference devices. It seems like a pretty niche market in my opinion, but they have made already, again, 2 generations, and it seems like they've had some moderate success so far. So let's see if this is a step up compared to the original. The packaging here is pretty well presented, and on top we have some additional manuals for the eMeet M2 and also a advertisement for some of their other products on Amazon, it seems like. There's also a app that they've designed for iOS and Android exclusively, so if you have your smartphone, you can pair it more easily to the speaker and access some of the other features if you download their app. Again, the instruction manual is very well documented in multiple languages. Here's the M2 itself. Take a closer look at it in a second. Underneath here we have a micro USB cable for power, and there's also an auxiliary cable if you want to connect it by wire to your phone instead of using wireless Bluetooth. And as a quick size comparison, I've pulled out the original OfficeMate M1, and you can see that compared to the M2, it's a bit smaller in terms of overall footprint, probably because the M2 has a larger speaker driver that packs more volume, supposedly. We'll test it out later on and give you guys a quick demo of that, but you can tell that in terms of dimensions, this is definitely more compact. So now a quick tour around the hardware of the M2. It's made predominantly out of aluminum on the front, as well as plastic polycarbonate on the edges. On the side here, you have one of the microphones, and you can see the other 3 located on the edges, a auxiliary input, output, as well as a micro USB port. So the auxiliary output is actually quite interesting, and what that means is if you don't really like the speaker and the sound quality here, which you should because it's a 360-degree omnidirectional speaker, you can actually hook it up to larger speakers if you want to, and only use this as the microphones. So that's a very interesting prospect that we didn't see on the original M1. One feature, though, that we lose on this compared to the M1 is a large full-size USB port, because on the original M1 you can also use the speaker as a power bank. The M2 has a LED light ring on the outer edge that gives you notifications. So for instance, if you are turning it off, it will give you a green light that tells you, do you really want to confirm and power this off? And you simply need to tap on the power key for a few seconds longer to turn it off. Same thing goes with turning it on. You need to hold for a few seconds instead of just tapping once, which is actually a smart feature because capacitive keys are easier to trigger accidentally. So if it's in a pocket, it won't turn on by itself. You need to actually hold on it for it to pop on. And otherwise, I can change the volume. You can see that just like on the original M1, there is a indicator that tells you, as it's going down, the volume is also going down, and as it's going up, it completes the circle, a little bit similar to the Amazon Echo. And I can also tap on the center key here to mute the microphone, so it turns red, tap on it again to wake the microphone back on. So these are the same commands that we saw on the original. What has been updated, like I mentioned previously, is the sound quality is a little bit stronger, which I'll show you guys in an audio demo in a second. So overall, that's basically how the controls function. Taking a quick look at the app next, it's called eMeet, and what's really interesting about this company, which is based in Shenzhen, is even though I consider this as kind of a hardware-based company, they claim that they are a software and AI-based company because it's kind of a trendy term to use these days. But what it really means is there's actually a bit of complex work that's going on behind the scenes with both the app as well as the product. So with the product, it needs to detect where you're speaking from. So if you are only one person in a giant room, it can detect which microphone is being used and then automatically filter out the background noise and then focus and zoom the microphone so that only this one is turned on and all of these are turned off. So that's actually a pretty interesting feature that works well. And within the app, it has some AI features such as auto translation, and the voice memos can then be transcribed into text documents, which are actually pretty useful, especially for a business or for a group meeting. You don't want to type everything out. This basically does it for you. Another really cool feature is you have translate. So this is actually working really well. You can translate between Chinese and English at the moment. More languages are coming soon, and it uses the really good microphones on this to pick it up, so it picks up everyone's voices. So let's do a quick demo. I'm just going to say hello in Chinese, which is ni hao. And if I tap on this, let's try it. Ni hao. And you can see that it's recognized it very well. And what's very cool, as you saw there, is as I picked it up and spoke into this particular microphone, there's a ring on the side that turns on that tells you you're using this mic and that everything else around you is silenced. So it's intelligent enough to detect that on its own, and then on the software, you can see it's pulled up ni hao, which is hello, and then translated into how are you doing. So that's a pretty intelligent translation as well, very much vernacular. So I can tap on the speaker here and it will also read the translation.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
So let's do another quick test of the microphones, this time all the way around. I'm going to try in English, of course. So hello, hello, this is a test of the microphone here, and I'm going to now try rotating around the side here to see if it picks up. You can see the ring has changed color, so now it knows I'm speaking into a different part of the M2. And so if you have different groups of people and different sounds, you'll have multiple lights turn on at the same time, as you can see there. And now try rotating around the side here to see if it picks up. You can see the ring has changed color, so now it knows I'm speaking into a different part of the M2. And here we see the live transcription process happening. It's parsing through the entire voice memo and it's changing it into English or in Chinese if you talk in Chinese. So that's actually pretty cool. There are some slight errors, but for the most part, everything makes sense. It even captures sentences, so it will put periods where they are and format it correctly as well, which is really impressive. So there's definitely a lot of hidden AI that's going on that's doing all of this work for you. I also want to point out that the microphones are basically always on, and since it's going to be connected to a phone or tablet, likely running on iOS or Android, it basically becomes a smart speaker or a smart assistant, just like an Alexa speaker or an Echo would. So on an Android phone, you would say something like, "Okay, Google," and you hear that the command has been popped up. It's parsing your voice into a text, it's searching it up, and it actually works really well. And as long as you're connected using Bluetooth, it has a connection range of 10 meters or 33 feet. You can leave it in a different room and still say things like, "Okay, Google, what's the weather like?"
Right now in Sammamish, it's 57 and cloudy.
So that's the eMeet OfficeMate M2. It's an improvement over the original as aforementioned by having a slightly larger capacity battery, by having bigger drivers, a more impressive overall speaker quality, which as you heard in the audio demo there actually sounds pretty good. Surprising depth, so there's definitely a little bit of bass, which I wasn't expecting from such a small overall package, as well as a slightly improved ergonomics and commands. We still have this interesting light ring, we still have the app, which is doing a lot of translation work. It actually is very intuitive, and so for a lot of smaller businesses, for various meetings, also working in project groups, especially if you have people that are talking in different languages. This can be actually very valuable. In addition, it works well just as a traditional kind of a conference call speaker. So just connecting it to a phone using Bluetooth and then making a phone call, being able to hear people as a speakerphone and then picking up your voices that way. Everything is integrated very well. The only downside is, again, the price. $200, kind of expensive as it is, but I suppose if you're looking at it from a business point of view, it's a worthwhile investment and not too much. But for consumer use, it is a little bit pricey. But that being said, it really isn't the main demographic that eMeet are targeting, even though this is actually a pretty cool product, in my opinion, from the design to the AI features on the software. So you can check out more details in the links down below, but for now, this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the eMeet OfficeMate M2.